Okay guys, welcome to a new game dev video. Today I'm joined by Patrick. Welcome Patrick.
Hi, thanks.
Your role is technical artist at Lavapotion.
Indeed.
It means you do a lot of technical things that relates to the art, the graphics assets, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Mostly.
Mostly this, yeah. Because you have done like AI, network coding.
I've done a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I'm behind most of the network code in this game, which is weird, but yeah.
Yeah, but you kind of like to try new things out, test the limits of what the engine can do. But you also like optimizing the game, right?
I love to optimize the game. That's the best thing ever.
Which is a weird thing for me to hear, because I wouldn't kind of think that that's what's enjoyable for a programmer / artist, but you know.
I mean, it's a tough challenge, and tough challenges are fun.
Yeah.
I think that's basically it.
Okay, so today I really just wanted to give the user a chance of just seeing a tiny little bit behind the scenes of what you kind of do on a typical day. Even if it's something just as simple as adding a building to the game. I mean, for instance, we're looking now at the Arleon adventure assets, or what would you call
it's kind of the complete lineup of the Arleon faction as you would see it during adventure. So there's no battle assets here, it's only adventure. Buildings, wielders, and the hostiles that you encounter.
Yeah. So these are the type of troops, objects, or faction buildings or wheelers that you would see on the adventure map.
Exactly. And we're looking through a scene that we have that we call the faction playground, where you can just see everything. It's very useful when you're adding new stuff. You can compare it to the other factions. You can see it in different colors. You can see it during different times, like day and night cycles and stuff like that.
Okay, can you switch stuff?
I can switch to night. You can see what that looks like.
Can you switch things like team colors?
Yeah.
Okay, so now, all right. This is cool. This is actually not something I use in my daily work, since I mostly work with.
I think this is news to you, but yeah, we use this a lot to just look at the assets, basically.
Can we look at another faction that we already looked a little bit on, like
switching to Loth?
So here we see all the adventure map assets. And can you kind of show us how a big or a large building is built up from the side with this, the 3D space and the pixel art?
Yeah, sure. I think one thing that's worth pointing out is that, in our game, buildings kind of evolve. So you can see this is level 2 of each building. Mm-hmm. We have a few buildings that are level 3 and level 4, and the main building you have level 5. So,
right.
With that in mind, you can kind of see. I can show you how it looks behind the scene. This is the actual view that you'd see in game would be here somewhere. That's why the assets are currently pointing towards a thought-out camera, and that keeps them looking 2D, even though they're moving around in a 3-dimensional world. And as you can see, most of them are pretty flat. If you look at wielders, for example, they are perfectly flat. There aren't any depth to them at all, and the same goes for these guys as well. But if you start looking at the buildings over here, you can actually see that there are a few things happening in layers. And obviously, the largest building being the fortress here is the one that has most of them. So you can kind of see that we're starting out with. We have a front layer, we have a few middle layers, and there's a back layer.
Yeah.
And everything kind of, together builds up what you would kind of perceive as 3-dimensional.
So it gives some kind of parallax effect when
that's
you
the general
zoom
idea.
In and out or move to the sides, I guess?
I mean, the general idea is when I move like this, you start to see behind things.
Okay.
Right? I mean, that was the premise of the whole art style to begin with. It doesn't give... Obviously, since we never rotate the camera just pans around, it zooms a bit, and it goes up and down, but it never rotates in the y-axis like I'm doing here. So we never experience the building.
Exactly. The illusion is never broken with because of the camera.
No, exactly.
I can see also that you have some effects on some buildings, like what's it called, fog or like particles emitting from certain things?
Yeah, there's actually quite a few of them. I mean, we build them up in there are a few types of things. Like if you see this hook or whatever it is swinging here, that's an actual drawn animation that we've added. And then the same goes for if you look at the tent here, it's a bit animated. I mean, that's something that our artist has drawn that we just sort of play. And then apart from that, we have this would be a pure particle effect.
Like the smoke?
The smoke coming from the chimneys here.
It's very subtle, but I think that perhaps is the kind of intention that it all
Yeah, I mean,
blends.
seeing it from the game view, it kind of just gives some life to it.
I think we need to increase the size here of the screen. This is much better.
So,
and these blue mysterious fires, are those like hand-drawn, animated, or? They
are, although they're being recolored by the engine. So we have a set of colors that we use. Like Lot, for example, here uses a lot of the blue fire. Rana, they use a green color in there, and Arlion uses a more traditional fiery red-orange color. So we just flip between, but it's the same kind of asset. You would see the exact same effect in Arlion, for example, but it would be orange and yellow and stuff.
This is super interesting to see, and I think this is something that kind of shows to the potential players and users how we work with the graphics to kind of make sure that the stuff the graphics artists produce actually looks good inside the game engine.
Yeah.
Is there anything else, like if we look at the ground, it looks kind of seamless and nice in terms of the texture or the pattern?
We're currently looking at it as a single texture. So this is kind of actually, when we're actually looking at it in-game, it'll be more of a patchwork of different textures. But now you can see that it's the same one.
Can we switch to? Okay, you can switch.
Here it's very same. I think that could be interesting to look at further if you want to see more technical stuff. But
yeah, I mean, if we want to, we can just take a little look at the environments. We can just switch scene if you want to. Yeah, and then we'll cut away all the boring stuff when you load out the assets.
Short pause before I switch it. All right, hang on. So here's the level editor.
Awesome. I guess this is a work in progress still.
You mean the level editor?
Yeah, like the interface.
Definitely.
Okay. Okay.
So don't worry too much about that.
No, sure. What are we looking at here?
So we're looking at a level called Four Corners, which Carl has created.
And which map size is it?
It's not the largest one, but it's a large map size.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think this would be somewhere in the middle, I guess.
But you can't zoom out to this level inside the game,
no,
right?
We allow it in the level editor just to be able to see the actual map here. Yeah. But during in-game, I mean, you can see as I zoom in, here's a town, for example. So during gameplay would be somewhere here, I guess.
Yeah.
In terms of zoom.
And we were talking a little bit about the ground textures and how they work and how they blend together. Could you just show us a little bit about that before we kind of round off the video?
Yeah, I can show you a bit of the magic going on. But as you saw before in the other scene, like it's all built from single textures that are seamless, that we just repeat all over the landscape. But the reason why it doesn't look like that is because we start mixing different textures. Like you can see what's going on here. Here's what we call the arid one, here's the dry one, and this is the temperate one, and this is the wet one.
So just so I understand, so you mean like where there's like subtle fading between the tiles, that's like where you mean the magic happens, or?
It's kind of, there's a lot of things happening, and I would love to show you everything, and I can do that.
No, that could be a separate video. I just wanted to give the the viewers just a little something.
Yeah. But yeah, as you can see under the marker here, like it is tile based. There are square tiles like this, and I can draw this material on top of the tile, and that would make it fade from one to another. But we do a lot of other magic, like there are what we call decals being drawn on top as well. It's kind of hard for me to point them out, but they are there, and mixing things up a bit.
And they sometimes end up like over like the grid. not directly on top of the tile, but also like overlapping between two tiles.
They're being spread out.
Because it seems like there's a brown patch here where you're hovering right now,
that would
which extends over 2 tiles.
Yeah.
Which kind of covers the, I don't know what to call it, but the barrier between them.
Yeah, and I mean that's the whole point, is to create, or rather remove the effect of there being 2 separate textures.
And all of these grass and flowers, is that painted manually, or is that something that spawns automatically?
No, that's spawned by an algorithm that we have. We have a brush system that does that for us, which we set up. So we're calling them decorations. The trees are actually part of the same system.
So can you
but it's a separate brush.
Okay, can you just paint a little bit in real time so we can kind of see how it would change?
Yeah, I mean, if I change the material here, you can see that the patches of grass are being removed because we don't use them for the arid one. And if we go back to, you can see we go back to grass.
What could you, for instance, could you, for instance, paint something that's more like a Rana-like marsh or swampy atmosphere?
I can change the whole area to the Rana biome instead, like this.
Okay, interesting.
So now all of the factions have kind of the same texture sets. Like we have 4. We have the arid, the dry, the temperate, and the wet one. So all of them have the same one. So we just convert from one to the other when we change the faction.
All right, I think this is awesome, and I think everyone will really enjoy just seeing a little bit more about how you work with the buildings and how the level editor work, and at least some small parts of the magic with the shaders and the texture blending and whatnot. So I think we're kind of done here, and I just let you guys that watch the video please leave comments if you have any questions for me or Patrick, or if there's anything else that you would like to see about the buildings, workflow, or the level editor, etc. We would be happy to show you more in another video.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks, and keep in mind to like the video, subscribe, and of course wishlist the game on Steam if you haven't done so already. Bye.
Bye.